On Indianapolis This Week, a Sunday morning exclusive with Baron Hill. Will the former congressman run for governor in 2016?
Whoa! Oh my God, did you see that?
Concerns with safety after 2 IPL underground incidents, a state investigation, and what one group says needs to be done. And the landmark in the Sunday spotlight with an artistic flair.
So much to do, so little time.
Yeah, but you're here.
Here we are, waiting for you.
From RTV6, the Indy Channel, this is Indianapolis This Week with Rafael Sanchez.
March Madness will soon give way to April anxiety as the legislature makes decisions on issues and the budget, and Governor Mike Pence plans to announce whether he'll seek a second term or possibly run for president. For Democrats, it means finding a challenger and selling a party's ideas in what has become a deep red state. Joining us today is Democrat and former Congressman Baron Hill. Hill served 5 terms in Congress from 1999 to 2005, then from 2007 to 2011. He served in the state legislature from 1982 to 1990. He lost a bid for U.S. Senate in 1990 and made headlines for walking the length of the state during that campaign. And he is a member of Indiana's Basketball Hall of Fame. Congressman Hill, welcome to the program. There is your resume, but let's talk about reality. Will you run for governor in 2016? Will you be seeking the Democratic nomination?
I'm looking at it. I've been talking to a lot of people here over the last year. I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing. Taking on an incumbent Republican in Indiana is a difficult task, as most people know. But I think there's a pathway to victory here. So probably over the next couple of weeks, I'll make a final decision.
And for you, what will be that issue? What will put you over the top to say? Because it's going to cost a lot of money, between maybe $10 to $15 million in fundraising. What will you say? What will be that issue or that thing that'll say, I need to run?
Well, the issues are what's motivating me right now. I think Indiana is moving in the wrong direction as it relates to education. If you talk to a lot of mayors and local elected officials, their budgets are being hampered by decisions that have been made by the previous governor and this governor, and the legislatures relates to tax changes that have affected their ability to hire policemen and firemen. The wage issue in Indiana is a real one. There's no question about it. Indiana ranks near the bottom in terms of wage equality. There are ways that we can help that situation out. So there's 3 areas right there that I've pointed out that I think Indiana's moving in the wrong direction. And I think what is going on now is people in Indiana, Hoosiers, are only hearing one side of the story because the political situation is dominated by the Republican Party. And they're not hearing the other side of the story. I want to run for governor if that happens, to tell the other side of the story and give people a choice.
As you know, this governor can run on a record, and whether you like the record or not, he can make claims to job growth, a good economy, and obviously a state that has a good rainy day fund. A lot of the states around us can't say that. So being that he can say that, whether you like it or not, where is he vulnerable?
Well, I think the vulnerability, it relates to, while jobs are increasing in Indiana and across the nation, quite frankly, the stagnation of those wages is an issue. Indiana, for example, according to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, recently put out a report that Indiana is one of the worst states as it relates to taxing middle class and poor people. That is one area that we need to take a look at so that people are not taxed so highly in Indiana like they are in comparison to other states.
The issue, of course, as you know, as a Democrat, you've seen the legislative makeup. They have both House and Senate. How do you sell Democratic ideas in a state that seems to be super red?
Well, I don't think Indiana's super red. I think people in Indiana are independent-minded. They'll vote for Democrats, they'll vote for Republicans. What they're looking for is people who will make government work, make Indiana a better place, looking for a solution and reaching across the aisle to both Democrats and to Republicans. I think that's what the people in Indiana are looking for in their candidates for public office. So, you know, we've had Evan Bayh as a Democratic governor. We've had Frank O'Bannon as an Indiana governor. We've got Joe Donnelly as a United States Senator, Glenda Ritz as Superintendent of Public Instruction. I believe strongly that people will take a look at a Democratic candidate for governor.
The one thing we have not seen is someone unseating an incumbent governor of either party. And so I think you've called this an uphill battle should you choose to take it. Do you think you have the stamina and also the passion for your state
Yes.
to take on what will be an expensive campaign and one in which will require you to hit all 92 counties?
I do. I represented a congressional district for over 10 years where usually I get about 50.1% of the vote. So I've been in tough battles before and I know how to fight them. But you know, the whole race for governor is not really about me or Mike Pence. It's about the people of Indiana. And the issues that I talked about, education, local elected officials, budgets being strapped, wage inequality, these are things that need to be addressed. And so I think having the opportunity to address those issues is what's motivating me.
If you don't consider run for governor, would you consider run for Senate? My understanding is that the current Senator Dan Coates may not run for Senate. Would you consider either job, or is governor the one you would be looking at given a choice?
Well, my focus for the last year has been on running for governor, but I have been approached by people who run the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, and I've told them that I will at least keep an open ear to them.
Something you fought for in Congress and post-Congress is a balanced budget. The legislature considering a balanced budget amendment. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, Article 10, Section 5 of the Constitution already enforces the mandate that we have balanced budgets. So, in my view, the proposal by the governor was just political theater.
Congressman Baron Hill, thank you for joining us on the program today. I hope you'll come back.
I will.
And when you make that announcement or don't make the announcement, you're always welcome to come back on Indianapolis This Week.
Thank you very much.
We thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Over the next few days, IPL will be working on a response to a state investigation because of this.
Whoa! Oh my God, did you see that?
The state wants details from IPL about 2 underground incidents from last week. The biggest one caused power outages and tied up rush hour traffic on Thursday. IPL contends their system is safe and reliable, but says it could happen again. People hear safe and reliable, but they say, but look what happened today. Look what happened last year.
Sure, I understand your question, and we think about that in a number of ways. You know, first, I look at the inherent risks that are part of our business. So, of course, the generation, the transmission, and the distribution of electricity come with risks, and we take steps to make sure that we minimize those risks, eliminate them wherever possible, but we can't guarantee that we won't have failures of equipment.
Joining us now in our newsroom is Kerwin Olson with Citizens Action Coalition, a group that is outspoken on regulatory issues. Kerwin, what does the state need to do on this case involving IPL?
Well, you know, Raphael, there's a reason we have regulators. We're certainly mindful that the Regulatory Commission prefers to not have to tell the utilities how to do their jobs, but there's times like these where a regulatory stick is the appropriate response from the states. So we are hopeful that the Commission will lay out a firm timeline for IPL to make the repairs necessary to keep the public safe, and then require that IPL come back, you know, on a periodic basis, hopefully, you know, on a bi-weekly or monthly basis, to report back on the steps they've taken to ensure that their system is indeed safe and the risk to the public is being minimized.
You guys are watchdogs. You keep an eye on these regulatory issues and utilities. Are you confident that the system will do the right thing in this case?
Well, we're cautiously optimistic. I was impressed with Chairman Carol Stefan's tone this morning. She was strident and appeared to be taking this very seriously, recognizing that this is now an issue of public safety. So, you know, we'll wait and see how the technical conference goes on April 2nd that they've scheduled. But we're cautiously optimistic, and the Commission seemed to be taking this very seriously this morning.
Kerwin Olson, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Next, the fight over religious freedom. Our insiders weigh in after the break. You're watching Indianapolis This Week. Welcome back to Indianapolis This Week. Joining us now are insiders Dan Parker, former state Democratic Party chair, and Abdul Hakim Shabazz with IndyPolitics.org. We just heard from Baron Hill, the former congressman, a possible contender for 2016. John Gregg, the former Speaker of the House, may be the other Democratic contender. I can't believe we're already talking about 2016, but the governor says he may make a decision at the end of next month, maybe. Yes?
I'll let my good friend Mr. Parker take this one. I'll let to start, then I'll correct it.
We'll talk about
about Mike Pence? We just heard from Congressman Hill. I mean, he clearly is interested in running. He's been making the rounds. I think a lot of this will depend on what John Gregg decides to do. I think that he'll probably, he would start a race as the front runner if he decides to run. Barron Hill will be a strong candidate, but I think that we'll probably only see one of them run if they decide to run against each other. It'll be a very interesting race.
Abdul, I read where John Gregg has said that maybe Barron Hill should focus on running for the U.S. Senate seat of
John
Dan
Gregg.
Coates
My good friend Mr. Parker,
retires.
the Democrat, is being polite, but John Gregg, ask him privately, he'll tell you that Barron Hill can't win. Ask Barron Hill privately, he'll tell you John Gregg tried it. No, he lost to Mike Pence. He can't win. They're both trying to claim the mantle. They're both trying to get Linda Ritz to run as their lieutenant governor candidate. Everybody knows this is going on. The challenge is that it is highly unlikely that Mike Pence is going to run for president. If you look at who's the people who's been put in place, but Jeff Cardwell, his assistant over at State Party, they're gearing up for another run for governor. They got $4 million in the bank. Their approval ratings are north of 6%. Most people, even a teachers union poll, thought most of Indiana was going in the right direction. Now, can anything happen in an election? Sure, but Mike Pence is in a very strong place to run for re-election. If I was John Gregg or Barron Hill, I'd say, sure, you run, you take it, and you take the fall.
Would it be a waste of money, or should these...
No, actually it won't, and I'll say why. Mike Pence really doesn't have a strong, compelling vision on where he wants to take Indiana. He's been relying really solely on the record that Mitch Daniels left behind and carried that forward. So either one of these gentlemen, if they decide to run, there's a few other Democrats that are thinking about running as well. Either one, as long as they present a compelling vision of where they want to take the state. Indiana does have a lot of problems that are being ignored at the State House, and that needs to be addressed.
A big issue at the State House is this issue of the Freedom Religious Act, right?
I call it REFRA, Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Like my friends at the State House call it REFRA, but somebody was smoking pipe when I look at this whole
whatever
thing.
we call it and whatever can come out of my mouth, is it going to pass?
Yes, it is. It is going to pass because the votes are there for it to pass. What I caution my Republican friends, and I'm a big believer in religious freedom and religious liberty, but be careful what you pray for because you just might get it. And when we have the courts deciding what is a compelling government interest, we're opening up a whole big giant can of worms here, I think.
And we've seen a lot of folks, as you can see, there were protesters and there were supporters at the State House this week. And Dan Parker, is this a good idea? I mean, there is a federal law that's being looked by the courts. Do we need this law?
No, we don't. To echo some of the things that Abdul said, we don't need the law. And I think some things that came up this week were very interesting on why it needs to be defeated. When a company like Salesforce comes forward and says that this is something that they don't want to see happen here in Indiana, it would impact their decisions on whether they expand here. Those are things legislators should heed to. The other thing is, I don't know when Republican lawmakers wanted courts to decide anything. And that was their answers when a lot of bipartisan concerns were brought up this past week. So it's not a law we need, and they need to put it on the shelf.
On the federal level, we're seeing the nomination for the U.S. Attorney, Loretta Lynch, sort of is on hold. We heard on Friday that Dan Coates will not support Ms. Lynch's nomination. Good idea, bad idea?
I see where the senator's coming from.
Or does it talk to the base?
I see where Senator Coates is coming from. If you have trouble with the nomination, fine. I just come from a school of thought that says a president, Republican or Democrat, absent somebody being completely unqualified, is entitled to his or her, nominees. Just like George W. Bush was entitled to Alberto Gonzalez, the president is entitled to Loretta Lynch.
Absolutely. This really goes to the dysfunction in Washington. That a president can't nominate somebody to work in their cabinet. The fact that this is sat on the, her nomination's been pending for over 130 days. Let's have an up or down vote. If Senator Coates wants to oppose, that's fine. That's obviously his prerogative. But let's at least have a vote. But a president really should have the ability to nominate people and have them work in the cabinet unless there's compelling reasons why that person's resume or things they've done disqualifies them. Loretta Lynch has the support of Rudy Giuliani, not what you would call the most left-wing, liberal, former federal prosecutor in the world. So, I mean, this nomination should move forward. The president should get his Attorney General.
And we've been talking about Dan Coats, or at least I've been bringing up his name and speaking with Baron Hill. There is talk that he may not seek re-election for his Senate seat. Have you been hearing about that at all, or do you think he will run again for his seat?
To the best of my knowledge, no final decision has been made. Last time I spoke to the senator, he said he would make a formal announcement on April 5th, and that's opening day, and it's also opening day for the Chicago Cubs, too, so I'm not quite sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I do know that if he decides not to run, we're going to see literally a potential free-for-all.
And we have 20 seconds left. Will Indianapolis get a new soccer stadium? A hearing on this will be heard on Tuesday. Dan Parker.
At this time, I don't think it's the right thing. I think there's a lot of other pressing issues here in Indianapolis that should come before a new soccer stadium.
Abdul?
Maybe. It depends on the financing package that Senate Republicans unveil later this week.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Our insiders on the roundtable, we appreciated the conversation between our insiders continues on Twitter. Check out their Twitter handles and give us your opinion and stay up to date with Mary Beth, Lara, Abdul, Dan, and Jennifer throughout the week. Next, the landmark carving a new direction in attracting new audiences. It's more than the paintings, the artifacts, or the renowned exhibits. The Indianapolis Museum of Art is on the cutting edge of finding ways to make itself relevant, engaging, and accessible. Starting next month, it will cost $18 to visit the city's landmark. We met with the museum's CEO, Dr. Charles Venable. There was an uproar on social media over the price increase from 0 to 18. Any chance of going back, or are you staying the course?
No, we have studied this for now several years, and really there's no going back whatsoever. If we want a great art museum and gardens and park here in Indianapolis, we're really inviting the public to help us through general admission, but we also have a wonderful access program.
You have many, this is a large campus.
It's 152 acres here on this site.
It is a crown jewel which people really don't even know. They come to the front door, they think that this is the only building. Will you expose us to other parts of this campus at some point where we could see or know more about what's
Oh, absolutely. Here? That's one of the reasons that we're making some changes here. We're hoping we're making your visit much better here. We have so many people who in the past have come to one part but not the other and don't know anything about what they're missing. So inviting everybody to come into the main building as like a visitor center at a botanical garden or at the zoo or the Children's Museum, when you come in the front door, we're going to be educating everybody about all the different things you can do. So you can explore our orchid collection, our greenhouses, our gardens, our park, as well as all the hundreds of galleries full of great art here at the museum.
And soon we'll be able to see some amazing cars.
Oh, that's true. That's May 3rd. There are going to be some of the best automobiles ever designed in the world here in Indianapolis, which I think is perfect because we're such a car city with a great manufacturing and racing history here. We're going to have 17 of the most extraordinarily designed automobiles ever made, going from the 1930s all the way up to 2010 is the latest car.
And what will that exhibit tell us that we already don't know, in the sense of, as you mentioned, we are the racing capital of the world. We're getting ready for the 99th running of the Indianapolis 500. What will that bring to the conversation?
That's a terrific question. What the main point of the show is really to show the extraordinary amount of design talent and energy and creativity that goes into automobile design. We have new galleries that we opened a year and a half ago of industrial design here, hold 10,000 square feet of extraordinary objects, but we don't collect cars because they're so big. So this is part of our design program to bring automobile design into the building. These are all coming inside. This is not your local, car show on somebody's front lawn. These are extraordinary zillion-dollar automobiles, and every one of them have never been put into production. So these were one-off automobiles designed to show the world what the future of driving would be.
Did you call them zillion? What did you call them?
Zillion dollars.
I don't know. What does that look like?
A lot more than I pay for a car is what that is. These are some of the most, I guess you should say, the most expensive, extraordinary, exclusive automobiles in the world in terms of their rarity, because most of these were built, there were one of them built as products that would show at automobile shows to the audiences that here's what 20 or 30, 40, 50 years from now you might be driving. Here's the first time you could get power brakes or push-button windows. All those things that are common now, these are extraordinary world-class things.
So when people come to this space, this very big space, what do you want them to walk away with? Because we're talking about cars in an art museum. I know you have also exhibits on fashion. I mean, this
We
is
do. We have a big fashion
this
collection.
place has.
We have galleries full of silver and chairs and paintings and sculpture.
So art is just not painting on the walls, right? When we grew up, we always thought of.
I think that's what most people, particularly a generation or two ago, when they thought of a museum, it was kind of a quiet, kind of library-like, kind of a, exactly, don't run, don't talk, don't touch anything, quietly walk, and you might have somebody talk to you a little bit. That's totally changed dramatically, and the IMA is in the forefront of helping to change that. We do all kinds of things on our website that you could explore our whole collection digitally online. We're adding thousands and thousands more of our collection monthly, practically online. You can come here and you can have a listening session. You can come to what we call avant-garde brunch. You can, shop in our shops, go to the cafe, go out to the gardens.
I'm tired already.
It's exhausting.
I need a chair.
However, that's one of the things that we really want to do a better job at, welcoming everybody and then saying, here's all the things you can do at the IMA. Here's a whole list of stuff you can do. And you can go through and pick out what are the things that are most relevant to you, what are the things your kids might like to do, what are the things your girlfriend might want to see or your boyfriend, and then you get to go pick and go do it, whether it's indoor or out here at the museum, because there's just so much to do.
So much to do right here in Indianapolis. We hope everyone comes out and visits,
So
right?
much to do, so little time.
Yeah, but you're here.
Here we are, waiting for you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, well, my pleasure.
A fun and engaging place. That car exhibit opens on May the 3rd. Next week on Indianapolis This Week, the campaign to stop modern-day slavery in Indiana, plus getting ready for 60,000 visitors for the Final Four. Thanks for watching and have a great Sunday.